Hey WedSetters, I'm Lisa Brenchley, host of the WedSetter podcast, and I've helped thousands of couples create their best day ever on the beautiful island of Bali. We are your guide to Bali weddings, where we will talk to the finest wedding vendors in the industry. We chat to the people running Bali's leading wedding venues, real brides sharing their best day ever, and other clever folk doing really great things in Bali. You'll hear wedding planning tips and tricks, local hotspots, and hidden Bali gems you don't want to miss. Let's get you down the aisle. Did you have like any non-negotiables that you were like, okay, it's Bali and then it has to be this?
Open bar.
Oh. Amazing.
That was like my one, like
You're
I'm not screwing, not scrimping. Open bar, doesn't matter how many guests.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was beautiful, it was amazing, it was everything I could have ever dreamt of. It just went so quickly. Like I feel like...
I was going to say long. I was going to say nobody said
it
that.
was so quick. Like I feel like the morning was really great. We woke up, had breakfast, we did a little run through, and then we all started getting ready. It depends who you get. I feel like Australia, there's a big...
Yeah, true.
That you can get really affordable, but you can get really expensive.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like a lot of the vendors here sort of sit middle line with hair and makeup. But things like flowers and stuff like that, I mean, I went all out on flowers.
In this episode, we talked to Lexie from Trove Artistry, a hair and makeup vendor in the Bali wedding industry. She tells us all about her beautiful Bali wedding planned by Plan A, and she also gives us some hair and makeup tips that you'll love to hear. Take a listen. Today, we are continuing our bridal edition where I interview a real Bali bride. This one is super special though, as she works in the wedding industry as a hair and makeup vendor, Trove Artistry. Hello, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to hear all about your day. We haven't even caught up yet,
I know, not since it. It was perfect.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, let's talk planning. Where did you start?
The very first thing I did was I messaged Tash.
Tash from Plan A.
Plan A. As soon as I knew that we were going to have a wedding, I sent her a message straight away.
And a wedding in Bali?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it always Bali?
Ever since I started doing weddings in Bali and being involved in them and sort of seeing them, it was Bali. But before then, I could have been married anywhere. I always sort of thought it would be in Australia. But since being involved in the weddings here and seeing how special they are, it definitely, Bali.
Did you have like any non-negotiables that you were like, okay, it's Bali and then it has to be this?
Open bar.
Amazing.
That was like my one, like
You're
I'm not screwing, not scrimping. Open bar, doesn't matter how many guests.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
What about venue? Like, did you know which venue from the start, or did you go venue scouting?
Tash helped me heaps. I originally, like going to weddings and everything, I love an Uluwatu wedding. Clifftop wedding, it's just beautiful when you can look out of the ocean. There's nothing quite like it, but there's also nothing quite like an Uluwatu price.
For sure.
And then also as well, I planned really late. I only started planning about 8 months before our wedding.
Yeah.
And everything was booked. So I had obviously something that I wanted oceanfront. I want it to be in our budget, and then it needs to be available. So Uluwatu was out of the game at that point.
Yeah.
And then my husband actually found this villa online on Elite Havens.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so where did you get married?
Villa Kailasha in Tabanan.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
beautiful.
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It's newly renovated, but it still has like a little bit of a Balinese
traditional feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. How did you choose your vendors?
I knew exactly who I wanted ages ago.
Were you like looking it up before he even popped the question? Were you one of those?
It's sort of like I would go to a wedding and then I would see, you know, who did the flowers at this wedding? Oh, Sandit. Okay, that's who's doing my wedding. I'd go to another wedding. Oh, who's that photographer? Oh, that's Illume. All right, that's my photographer.
Yeah.
So I feel like I slowly picked my vendors going to other people's weddings.
Yeah, right.
And just taking a little
just working
piece.
at other people's weddings.
Yeah, just working at other people's weddings.
Yeah.
Tash helped a lot as well with vendors that I didn't know. So like the bar and things like that. She gave really good recommendations that we used. But any of the vendors that I knew about, I had them pre-booked in my head many moons before.
She would have loved that too, because she would have like got to work with a completely different team that she probably would never have put together.
Yeah.
So it's good, like a bride coming in and knowing what they want.
Yes.
I'm sure. How did you stay organised?
I feel like Tash helped. I would just literally email her anything I thought at the time I thought it, and then she'd keep it, I don't know where, all written down, all organised.
Yeah.
It was really, really, I would say, the most stress-free, easiest thing was to plan this wedding.
Amazing.
Like I had so many other things going on in my life at the time that was so much more stressful, and I feel like planning a wedding, which is meant to be full-on and stressful and, you know, it was the least of my worries.
That's awesome. Do you think it comes down a lot to Tash?
Oh, I think it comes hands down to Tash.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I knew that I could trust her because I've worked with her so many times. And
is that how your relationship started, your friendship?
Yeah.
Through work?
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I used to still work for her sometimes on a wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you stick to a budget?
No, we almost doubled our budget.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You could obviously afford it.
I mean, I feel like we started and we wanted it to be a little bit more intimate, a little bit more humble.
Yeah.
And then I sort of just was like, oh, we need to add this and I want to add that.
And it all adds up.
It just adds up a lot quicker than you think.
Mm.
And then especially as well, the dress and the shoes and the accessories and so we didn't stick to our budget
kind of
at all.
The extra, I feel like the extra nights of accommodation that you add on to the end.
Yeah,
and
even just the food when you're staying at the villa, like things that you don't think of, you know. Then we got massages and just all these little things that you look at it at the end and it's a lot more than you bargain for, but it's worth it.
Yeah, and it's something that you'll think about forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about your actual wedding. Mm-hmm. How was it? And tell the listeners about it.
So it was beautiful. It was amazing. It was everything I could have ever dreamt of. It just went so quickly. Like I feel
like... you were going to say long. I was going to say nobody said that.
It was so quick. Like I feel like the morning was really great. We woke up, had breakfast. We did a little run through. And then we all started getting ready. Well, the girls did anyway. The boys went and got massages. And then, I walked down the aisle at 4:30 and then they were packing up by 11.
And it just goes like that,
It was literally like that. Like we had dinner, we were dancing and the cocktails were so good. And then, it just went really quickly. But it was kind of... there wasn't any, like, drama, you know? Like, I feel like everything was... I didn't run late. I didn't have issues with my dress. I didn't... like, you know, my hair and makeup was perfect. I was happy with everything. Like, I feel like...
Who did your hair and makeup?
I did my makeup.
Oh, I was like, I didn't even know that. Yeah.
I did my makeup. And then we had my girls from the salon do my hair.
Awesome.
Yes.
Convenient.
It was very convenient.
What were some of the things that you were worried about in the lead up to the wedding, if any?
More so just I actually was worried about the weather because a few days before the wedding it was like raining in Bali, which it never rains in Bali in June, and there were so many like weather warnings and storm warnings, and then Tash actually messaged me and said we should look into getting a tent.
Oh my.
I know, 2 days before the wedding, we should look into getting a tent. Would you want to hire a rain stopper or would you want to get a tent? And I just said, just give me a few days. I was like, just give me a little bit. Let me think about it. I'll get back to you. And then the next day I woke up and then it was...
pure sunshine.
Yeah. Perfect blue skies. The weather, forecast had changed. So luckily it was the perfect day, but that was probably my biggest worry. And then other little worries are just, you know, family meeting for the first time or family seeing each other that haven't in a while.
Yeah. All the family drama that comes with a wedding. Did it all go to plan?
It did. Yeah. It did. It went really well. It was, like I said, my only like concern of the night. It just was so fast. I just wish I could have lived in that moment for just a little bit longer.
Oh, I remember that too. Hey WedSetters, are you looking for behind the scenes content creation for your wedding day? Introducing Treasure the Bride. They discreetly capture moments of pure happiness and tears of joy that you will treasure forever. Your videos and the full unedited gallery they take on the day will be delivered within 48 hours of your wedding day. Head to the WedSetter directory to find them under content creation to check availability and packages. Happy planning! What was your favourite part of the day?
Oh, my favourite part of the day was getting ready was really nice, but I think maybe the vows. Doing the vows was so special. My husband, right up until almost right before the wedding, we weren't doing vows. That was his non-negotiable. He's like, you can have this dream wedding, you can have the flowers, you can have this, you can have that, you can have whatever, but I'm not saying vows. Like he just was like, I'll write you a private letter or something like that. I just can't do it. I won't do it. And then I think it was about a week before the wedding, he changed his mind.
At least it was a week. I thought you were going to say on the day.
No, it was about a week, and he changed his mind and he said, okay, I'll do vows, that's fine. And then he wrote them, and then he read them to me when he wrote them on the spot. And then so I'm trying to like shield my ears, like stop it, stop it, stop it. But even though I had heard them once before, I feel like it was so special having him read that to me in front of his family and my family, and then, you know, me being able to say mine to him and having our son there in the front row was...
Do you know what changed his mind?
I feel like he saw another wedding where someone read vows and he was like, oh, I can do better than that.
Yeah.
I can do that. That's easy.
Yeah, because they're literally like probably afraid of the public speaking side of things. But then if they really just think about they're only talking to you and saying what they love about you.
Yeah. And then I feel like I kept saying as well, oh, mine aren't going to be very good. And he got like a little kick out of being like, yeah, well, mine are really good. So he wanted to, No, he did a really great job.
Oh, that's good. We put the call out to our Instagram followers on what they would like to ask you. And so these are some of their questions. Were you worried about the weather? I think we answered that one.
Yep.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I was.
Where did you get married?
Villa Kailasha.
Where?
In Tabernan.
Tabernan.
Yeah. Beachfront. Beautiful.
Yeah. How many people?
52, 53.
Oh, good number.
Yeah, it was good.
Still quite intimate.
Yeah.
But big enough for like your big wedding.
Yeah, it felt grand, but then I feel like I spoke to everyone. I got to hug everyone. Like I didn't, still intimate.
Yeah, awesome. Did you have a welcome party or a recovery party?
We had a recovery party the next day. We had everyone come back to the villa and we just did a barbecue by the pool. I feel like it wasn't really a party. Some people slept on sunbeds. My husband was sleeping on the marble tiles in the foyer. Everyone was really hungover.
That's what it's for. It's a recovery day.
Yeah, it was nice. I originally actually wanted to get like massage ladies and stuff like that around for that day, which I feel like would have been a really good idea. So I reckon that's a good little tip.
Yeah, awesome. Was your wedding cheaper than doing it in Australia?
I wouldn't say it was definitely you get more bang for your buck, I feel. Like it definitely wasn't a cheap wedding, but I feel that for some of the vendors, I got 3 times more than I would have in Australia for the same price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think when people ask us this, because they ask it a lot, I do think it's definitely cheaper.
Yep.
If you were to mirror what you got in Bali to what you got in Australia, it would definitely be double.
Yeah.
Like you get a videography, photography team for like 8 to 9 hours, where in Australia you might only have it for 6.
Yeah.
And I feel like hair and makeup is probably almost on par with a lot.
I think hair and makeup's, it depends who you get. I feel like Australia, there's a big...
Yeah, true.
That you can get really affordable, but you can get really expensive.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like a lot of the vendors here sort of sit middle line with hair and makeup. But things like flowers and stuff like that, I mean, I went all out on flowers. Like I didn't,
Yeah. And did you do imported flowers or a lot of local flowers?
A lot of them were imported. I had like the peonies for my bouquet, which they were flown in from Holland, which is crazy to think. But he actually did a lot of artificial flowers as well.
This is Sandat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I, like, even going to these weddings myself, I had no idea that some of these, you know, arrangements and hanging things and stuff were artificial.
Yeah.
But it was a way to save money and cut down costs, but I couldn't tell. I think
I've seen your photos. I definitely didn't notice artificial flowers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he sort of like puffs them, you know, he fills the middle with artificial and then puts some real ones and stuff on the outside. So when you're looking, it just looks like a full thing of real flowers. But obviously,
I think you've just given away his secret. No, I'm sure he's fine.
I probably just did.
Oh God.
But no, it was perfect. Like I feel like for me, flowers was such an important part, and yeah, I definitely didn't scrimp, and I probably was allowed to do that having my wedding here. I definitely would have not been able to afford flowers like that if I got married in Australia.
Oh, I think the flower bill would definitely be double in Australia.
For sure.
Yeah, that's kind of one vendor I totally think that does refer to.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Have you got any advice for future Bali brides?
Ooh, any advice? My biggest tip would be make sure you get a planner, honestly. Like I see a lot of people on like Facebook groups and things like that saying, you know, I really want to try and plan it myself because they see the vendors online, they see the vendors tagged, they think, you know, it's easy just to sort of book them themselves. But I think it's so worth the money to have someone be your point person and have them be there all night dealing with everyone and doing everything. I just think that for me, like a planner is an absolute must. Yeah.
And even if they're not with you for the entire way, I do know that some planners kind of can come in kind of towards the wedding date and wrap things up. I know they probably don't advertise that too much, but I was one of those crazy brides that planned my whole entire wedding. I do have an event management background, and so does my husband. So we wanted to control. Like we really enjoyed
the planning process,
putting it together. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to know nothing about it.
Yeah. So
just
there's
plan
just
it, don't
different.
tell me about it.
Yeah. And so 1 month before our wedding, like we had actually chosen our wedding planner 12 months before, but she knew that she was coming in 1 month before to wrap it all up. She was there on the day, and it went off without
That's a really cool service. I didn't know they did that.
It was a normal wedding planner, but she knew our background. She was still being CC'd in some things. And by the time that we presented everything to her, she did one final like tick of, okay, you're going to be here at this time on the day, and that's all she needed. So
that's so good.
I don't think they do it too much anymore because it is, you know, they're kind of liable for, well, they're not because
they're
the
liable
couple,
for everything.
but then if something goes wrong, it's kind of like, well, they didn't make the mistake, the couple did. So I know they probably don't advertise it too much, but it can be done.
Hey WedSetters, are you looking for a wedding planner, wedding venue, photographer or furniture? We've found the very best Bali wedding vendors and put them on the WedSetter directory so you can plan your whole wedding in one place. Head to wedsetter.com and start searching in each category you need. Happy planning!
So let's switch hats and put on your hair and makeup hat.
Okay.
You run a beautiful salon and hair and makeup business called Trove Artistry.
Yes.
Tell us about it and what brought you to Bali.
So initially I was coming over, I was teaching makeup in Australia, and things changed with the way they, you know, were offering courses and things like that. And I wanted a break. My husband wanted a break. We were going to come for 6 months and then, you know, do a little bit of work or, you know, and then go back home. And 5.5 years later, we set up the business after being here for around about 6 months. I just am very particular about the way I do things, and I just thought that there was a bit of a gap in the market that I really wanted to be the one to fill. My initial goal was to be a hair and makeup business for brides. We opened January 2020. COVID hit February 2020. So we had to sort of pivot the entire business and then really focus on being an in-salon, offering colour, specialising in blondes and stuff like that. And I was really, really lucky that we had a really great expat community that supported us and actually grew our business throughout all of COVID. Me being a makeup artist and not a hairdresser, I was, a little bit sad that I wasn't getting to do what I love, but I still had this amazing business that was growing and I was learning so much. And then when the borders opened, I think June last year, was it?
Yeah. I try and forget.
Oh, God, it was insane. I think I opened my emails and there was 15 emails of brides wanting to book weddings and I just thought,
here we go.
Yep.
Yay.
Ready for the ride. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's been crazy ever since.
Yeah, right. And so I never knew that you were actually just coming over for a short period, which I kind of do feel like I hear this story over and over and over again, no matter who the person is.
It's your story now.
I know, but that's what I just realised. I'm kind of like, that just sounds like us. And, you come here and you kind of dip a toe in and you realise, this place is amazing and it's very hard to leave.
Yeah. I can't imagine myself leaving now. We got a house, we've got dogs, we've got our roots here. So I love it.
And to go totally off topic, but I know this will interest some people. You just had a baby here too.
I did. I did IVF here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And how was that process?
It was really good. I feel like I can't compare it to Australia because I haven't had experience in Australia, but I have had friends who've gone through it and I feel like it's very personal here. We tried for a few years and we did a few IUIs here which were unsuccessful, and then we went to a hospital in Denpasar called Bros, and I could not recommend that hospital enough. Like, I just feel like the doctors and the nurses are so caring, and so they almost get a bad rap here for medical services, but I've only ever had amazing experiences.
Yeah, because I know a lot of even vendors, they go up as far as they can and then go back home to have their baby. So when I first met you and you said, I had my baby here, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I just think that's, not for me, I just think that's crazy. I have this doctor the whole way that I'm building a relationship with that I trust, and I feel like I want that person to be the one to deliver my baby, not for me to go back to Australia and then probably be thrown into the public system and, get some random person who's ever on shift that night to deliver my child.
Yeah, no, but I just love that and I wanted to share that because it's such a positive experience.
It was the best.
Yeah, and I knew that. So, thanks for sharing.
It's all right.
With your hair and makeup, I couldn't actually not take this opportunity to give our followers some tips. What are some tips in hair and makeup that you would provide for, or you tell some of the brides that are going with you for their wedding?
My sort of top tips I would say is don't trial too early in the process. I know people get excited and they want to sort of, trial this and test this and everything, but styles change. If we trial a bride about a year before their wedding, 9 times out of 10, by the time we do their wedding, their look has changed.
And they've never trialed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So some do come back and trial again the week before the wedding, which is really great. But I think, if you trial too far in advance, so many things can change. Even your skin can change. Sometimes you cut your hair, you change your hair. There's so many different things, even trends and styles. So don't trial too early. Don't try a new fake tan if you haven't used it before.
Wow.
I've seen some disasters.
I feel like you've got a story here. Do you?
I've just seen some disasters of people trialing new tans or new thing,
What, on the day?
Usually, they do it the night before and they sleep in it, and I'm trying to cover up bad tan marks with makeup, which doesn't really work. Don't trial a new tan. That would be definitely a tip.
Okay.
And then hair-wise, everyone's different, but try and do an up style, especially in the Bali heat. If you want to do curls or you want to have your hair down for the ceremony, maybe book a touch-up or book a change of style for your reception. I just feel like with the heat and the weather and the dancing and everything like that, an up style is for sure the way to go. I've never seen a down style still look good by the end of the night.
Yeah.
And then my other tip would be don't forget to put makeup on your ears.
Right.
Sweaty, red. If you get emotional and things like that, your ears tend to go quite red, especially in photos.
Makes sense, but never really heard that tip before. Good tip.
Especially if you're having an up style. You've got your hair off your face.
And your ears are exposed.
And your ears are exposed.
Yeah.
So always make sure you put foundation on your ears.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And how can people find you if they're looking for Trove?
I would say Instagram would be the best way. Trove Artistry Bali.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you. I have some rapid fire questions for you. Don't really think about them too much. You've just got to choose one or the other. Band or DJ?
DJ.
Set menu or shared plates?
Shared plates.
Wedding sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Cocktail or sit-down reception?
Ooh. Sit down.
Champagne or cocktails?
Cocktails.
First dance or welcome dance?
First dance.
And one dress or two?
Two.
Did you have two?
I had actually a change of pants. So my dress was a corset and a skirt.
Yeah.
Which not many people knew that it does look like one piece.
Yeah.
And then I actually took the skirt off and I put some sequin party pants on for the rest of the night.
How good.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait to see your photos.
I know, I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and hear all about your magical day, but also I think everybody will get heaps out of the tips and tricks on your hair and makeup. Please follow, rate and review wherever you listen and watch your podcasts. And follow us on Instagram at WedSetter_. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.